This topic we're going to talk about why the principle or the logic why when CGB is introduced into the cement ball mills that will achieve power saving performance.
Yeah, so my question is if I wanted to use your CGB technology in my cement ball mill, uh, will it be used in all the chamber or do you have a requirement which chamber this CGB can be used and why?
Yes. Well, so far, CGB, these ceramic grinding media are mostly used in, if it's two chambers ball mills, it will be used in the second chamber. And if it's three chamber ball mills, normally it's used in the third chamber and the second chamber. Some Chinese cement plants already performed a test to use CGB in both chambers, but failed. It's not that when they put the CGB into the both chambers, they couldn't achieve power saving effect. It's that the production output dropped too much. It's intolerable. They couldn't stand.
So, what is
So
the reason cause this? Like you said, the first chamber is not suitable for the CGB.
okay, well, for cement grinding function, traditionally, high chromium steel balls or steel balls are widely used because according to scientists test the specific density, the gravity of steel ball. Steel balls are very heavy. So in the first chamber, those coarse or big particle size, those coarse big size particles are in the first chamber. They need big force to crush, to impact, to to hit each other, to smash each other. In this case, those big and coarse particle will become a small one, and when they become a small one, they will be blown from the first chamber into the second chamber. So, as I explained, the specific density of a CGB is only 3.6, and steel ball is 7.6. So steel ball is 2 times heavier than this one. Even their volume density are the same. Even their volume are the same, or both are 30 millimeter. That means if we put the ceramic grinding balls into the first chamber, they cannot act the function. They cannot match the function like a steel ball do. For example, we have, for example, one ball mill had 50 metric tons of steel balls during crushing, during impacting, during clashing, smashing period. Within 20 seconds, the crushing effect will be finished, will be succeeded. But if we put like 50 metric tons of ceramic balls, only it may take like instead of 20 seconds, maybe it takes 40 seconds or 50 seconds, even 1 minute to realize that effect. And as a result, the production, the final production output will drop too much, right? You can understand this.
Yeah.
So after repeated experiment, we decided that in the first chamber, the CGB is not appropriate to replace steel balls for the heavy crushing effect. However, when it comes to the second chamber or the third chamber, these chambers are so-called fine grinding chambers. In these chambers, the clinkers and the other raw materials need to be ground instead of heat and grinding and smashing. In this case, Even the ceramic grinding boards are light-weighted. For friction, for grinding, no problem at all. No problem at all. I always make a metaphor to my friends who lack of, experience for CGB or for ball mill grinding process. I said, suppose this is a steel ball, okay? Suppose actually this is a CGB. In the first chamber for the work, we need 70% of the grinding work goes to smashing, heavy weight, heavy force smashing and crushing, and 30% goes to grinding. Okay, but when it comes to the next chamber number 2, 70% of the function goes to grinding. And only 30% goes to smashing, crushing. Okay, so when we replace the steel grinding media in the second chamber with our CGB, maybe that 70% grinding, friction, grinding and grinding effect remain there. But due to the weight, the light-weighted, this problem, that 30% crushing effect in the second chamber contributed by steel ball are weakened to 10%. In this case, in the second chamber, the total force 70% plus 10%, only 80%. That means the combined grinding force, 70% grinding force by this plus 10% crushing equals to only 80% of a previous function contributed by steel balls. So how to compensate this? This is the reason why when cement company introduced the CGB into their second chamber, if they didn't perform any technical modification or mechanical modifications, final production output will drop significantly. This is the reason why. So how to resolve it? How to compensate the 20% loss, 20% crushing loss in the second chamber caused by the light-weighted ceramic balls? We have our solutions. For example, we may think to increase the crushing effect in the first chamber by some means to compensate that 20% loss in the second chamber created by light-weighted ceramic balls. For this, we can only disclose to this extent. We cannot expose too much, because that's our technique. But the good news is once we go through the necessary questionnaire, we decide that we can put our CGB technology into these target ball mills. Minimum 3 kilowatt saving shall be guaranteed by our team. That means either we do it or we don't do it. But once we do it, we can give our clients a written warranty that minimum 3 kilowatt power saving shall be provided by our technology.